On today's episode of Gathering the Kings,
What decision have you made that was a really good decision? You can look back and go, this one thing that we decided to do, man, if we just keep doing that over and over and over again, that'll play out real nice. What is that?
you are listening to Gathering the Kings with Chaz Wolfe, featuring fellow 7, 8, and even 9-figure business owners who have real battle scars from business and life, but have prevailed as the king that they are designed to be. We welcome high-performing entrepreneurs to the stage in order to reveal the real of the real on what it takes to build a successful business today. We dissect the good and bad decisions they've made along the way that give a true and accurate picture of the journey of success and how you too can get there. Through this dialogue, you will learn the value of growing your network and surrounding yourself with power players and kings like today's guest. Grab your pen and notebook because we're about to dive in.
All right, here we go. What's up, everybody? I'm Chaz Wolfe, Gathering the Kings podcast. Today I've got Mike Chalfant here on the King stage. My brother, how you doing?
Doing great, Chaz. Thanks for having me here.
Of course, a fellow Kansas Cityan. I've said this several times now. We've gotten, over the last year, probably 15, 20, maybe even 25 folks from the Kansas City area. I didn't expect that when we started this a year ago, but here you are across the city and we're on Zoom, but we'll have to do lunch or something in person. I'm so glad that you're here, that you took the time. Thanks for being here. What kind of business do you have?
Really thrilled to be here, Chaz. Really appreciate the opportunity. So our business is a transportation management business. We do freight brokerage. We do managed transportation services, meaning we work with companies that have existing carrier relationships in place, and we just provide technology and some back office functions like freight bill audit and pay is a good example that people generally understand.
Yeah.
Just functions that is more efficient to outsource than do it themselves.
Yeah. Coming in and saving transportation companies money all over the country.
Well, yeah. Well, really, our clientele is the shipper community. So manufacturers, distributors, retailers. And so we're really kind of a third party, a 3PL, as some people say.
Yeah.
We don't own any trucks. The assets that we own are, expertise, technology, and really our people.
Yeah.
So we leverage those people and our carrier network, our relationships, and bring those to our customers and help them just operate more efficiently and fewer headaches and let them kind of focus on their core business.
Yeah. Understood. Mike, my question for you as we get started here before we get into your history is about your why, the deep-seated reason that maybe it's not even transportation. I don't know, but like what's bigger picture inside of you?
Yeah. So look, for me, it's just, let's do a good job. Let's provide real value to customers and try to bring that value to as many customers as possible, make their lives better, and make some money along the way. In our industry, in the transportation industry, it's ginormous. It's like the third biggest industry in the country behind healthcare and defense. It's super fragmented. There's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of different trucking companies out there.
Right.
So there's what we've discovered over the years is that there's just so many people doing it in a way that could be more efficient. So it's you hate to say they're doing it inefficiently, but there's room for improvement.
Yeah.
And there's probably anguish involved. And so our why is we want to help as many people as possible kind of improve that situation.
Yeah.
And maybe they're happy with it, but they're overpaying. So there is a best of both worlds. And so we're trying to bring that solution to as many people as possible.
Yeah. And I think that you've practically given us a great reason of helping people specifically in your industry. I think all that's great. I love that actually. Why that piece? Like why like underneath that, what wakes you personally up in the morning? What woke up the company when it started? Like, why did the company seek out to even do that you just practically gave us?
Sure. I mean, I guess I'll touch on how the company was started back in 1999. So before I was ever involved, it was one of the first online less than truckload platforms.
Sure.
So you know how the experience of going to like an orbitz.com, a Travelocity, and booking an airline ticket, self-serve. I mean, that was pretty innovative back in the day. You used to have to call a travel agent or call the airline themselves. And so this experience of being able to type in, where you're starting and where you want to go, and a few other details, number of passengers, number of bags, et cetera, and having a list of options come up at different price points, different kind of transit times, different layovers, pretty innovative and powerful. So that was why the software was created, because we did that for the less than truckload industry.
Yeah.
It didn't exist before that. And so we were it didn't exist before about, the late 90s. So kind of along with the internet, this is one of the, inventions of the internet.
Yeah.
And so that was how the company was started, and made a big, big impact on all sorts of users, transportation companies, but also that larger kind of what I call a shipper community, those manufacturers, those distributors, and those retailers. And so that was kind of the why. It was just to there's a better way to do this. Let's one of the founders was just a software guy. So let's use software to improve the lives and efficiencies of, companies.
Yeah. Yeah. It came to life. Obviously, you said, like, with the help of the internet, there's a big lever there, being able to help people in a more efficient way. But I just love how this example is a technology usage, but it's, hey, there's something being done in an efficient way. What can we do to make it better? It's simple, really, is what you break it down to. The answer that you're giving is, we want to be able to just do it better. Do you find yourself innovating? Like, is that you personally? Is that your drive? Like, you're always trying to improve the process, the whole organization in that way?
Yes, that is definitely one of my interests and passions is, finding more efficient ways to do things. Obviously, it's good for the business because you can redeploy human resources in different areas of need. We like to use our human resources to just make the customer experience better. And that's a lot of kind of, concierge service, a lot of updates, and just, we believe that if you deploy human capital in the right way and use resources like technology in the right way, you're going to A, deliver a great customer experience, and B, do it in a scalable manner where you can put it at a good price point for your customers, and you can make some money. I mean, we've got no shame in saying that this is a for-profit business. Our margins are very just kind of industry norm. So it's kind of a volume game. So we want to bring our products to as many people as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get into some practicals here. I know that obviously your role has changed in the company as you've grown, but now you hold the seat of president. And I want to know, as president, what decision have you made that was a really good decision? You can look back and go, this one thing that we decided to do, man, if we just keep doing that over and over and over again, that'll play out real nice. What is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it was really the decision to invest in a true living, breathing sales organization. So I started with the company in 2013. We had a different business model back then. We weren't selling directly to shippers, those manufacturers, retailers, distributors. We were selling to a lot of other intermediaries who maybe didn't have less than truckload expertise that we did. It was a way to get in front of a lot of eyeballs, but it was very low margin and very, very kind of, they'd leave you for a dollar type of thing. It wasn't sticky.
Yeah.
It wasn't sticky business at all. And so the decision to build a living, breathing sales organization back in 2019, that was the right decision. So, about 4 years ago. And because it's made us a lot more diversified, it kind of follows our plan of executing the business model of reaching shippers directly.
Sure.
A smaller game of telephone. You're talking to the people actually who are shipping the material or receiving the material.
Right.
It's better experience for all. And so that was the right decision. And so we got to work recruiting, and it's just made us a bigger and better organization, much more diversified as well. So that's always a good.
Yeah. The two things that you mentioned that I want to point out for the listener that maybe I'll have you dive into a little further is, as that salesperson has maybe removed some steps and kind of just directly connected the maybe more important pieces, AKA increased your experience, has just the the willingness of having somebody hunt a salesperson, has that been coupled with, so now you have a great experience because you have somebody who wants it to go well because they're financially incentivized. That's what sales is. And then over here, you have somebody who is also financially incentivized to go get more. Can you talk about maybe the play between experience and growth and how that plays into your sales team that you built?
Right. No, that's a really good question. So our kind of take on that is our salespeople are involved in the actual execution of the transactions.
Yeah.
Certainly at the beginning. As things scale up and with larger customers, we bring in account management. And the account managers are trained very, closely and on what those kind of customer expectations are. And by now we treat most customers the same, the same standard operating procedures that we kind of created, the MFWA per se. And so when the salespeople see the account management team executing in similar manners that they would with the same, high level of care, we kind of have one of our core behaviors is having a high gas level. It stands for give a shit. I don't know if I'm saying that on the podcast,
you're good.
but it's one of our core behaviors is having a high gas level. And so when our salespeople see our account management team have that high gas level, it kind of frees them up to go to kind of, leave the nest and go find more customers.
Yeah. Yeah. What you're talking about is a huge tension point between ops and sales in a lot of organizations. You have that handoff to the fulfillment side, and the sales guy is like, man, if you screw this up, you screw up my commission.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. We incentivize the account management team on the results. So they have a piece of the pie. And so if their work results in more or less business, they will be affected by it.
Yeah. Which is in alignment with the sales guy. So you're right. The more confidence you can give to the sales guy or gal to hand it off and go get some more, then you pretty rapidly start growing because you've got a hunter in the right seat doing what he or she should be doing, hunting new people.
Yep. That's absolutely true. I mean, so when we recruit people and we're interviewing them, we tell them that we don't want them to have any, artificial glass ceiling. We will provide as much account management support as they need based on the business coming in. But it's up to them to go get it and warrant the need for that support, right?
That's right.
Our biggest rep has 2 basically full-time people helping him.
Yeah.
And we love that. It's a great situation.
Yeah, you're right. It's a great model. Actually, I want to just clarify one quick thing for the listener. Basically, think of yourself as a business owner by yourself, going and growing, and eventually you made an initial hire and then a second hire. And typically those first initial hires are generalists or even admin to get off some of those, easy tasks that can just be repeated, which is exactly what now the sales guy, he has the ability to communicate. He has the ability to go create relationships and be sticky. And all he needs to do is be able to hand off some of those repeatable tasks that someone else probably with a different profile, a different personality is better at actually. Would you agree with that?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And we've seen it. So we're trying to replicate it. So, but it, in order for that to work, you gotta have people out there having success on the sales front.
That's right. Yeah. You got to bring in revenue to play with.
Yep.
Otherwise there's nothing there. Okay. Well, Mike, tell us about a bad decision. Something that didn't work out so good.
Well, I don't have a ton of regrets in my time here. It'll be 10 years on April 1st, whenever that is. Saturday.
Yeah. 2 days. Yeah. 3 days.
Yeah. So I don't have a ton, but one of my biggest regrets is just not doing enough research on kind of the industry leaders.
Sure.
When I first started, after I'd first started.
Right.
Because we were, in hindsight, we were in the wrong business model. Like I kind of alluded to earlier. Our customers were big, blue chip truckload brokerages or / carriers, your Schneiders, your OHLs, your Matsons, and the Sierra England, Landstar. And like I said, it wasn't, and the leaders in our space were working directly with shippers. And so we were kind of trying to do this hybrid transportation management software system with LTL rates and brokerage attached. And looking back, it's just kind of an identity crisis. And granted, I was learning the industry, but, just studying the environment a little more and what the successful people were doing and what they're doing well, what they were not doing well.
Yeah.
That could have saved us a few years.
Yeah.
Because we really didn't have it until, 2015 or so.
Yeah.
2015, 2016. So that's one of the biggest regrets. But, we are where we are today based on all those events. So it's nothing that really keeps me awake at night, but looking back, it could have done that.
Yeah, I agree. And I appreciate the vulnerability. What would you say to the listener right now who's in the midst of the identity crisis, as you say, and maybe they've got a couple different offers, or they're trying to figure out which one's the best, or I don't know, they're just confused on how to move forward. Maybe they don't even know that they're confused, like you guys back then didn't necessarily know that you were in the wrong business model, but somehow along the way, there was something that came to light. Let's check out what the other successful people are doing. What would you say to that person listening right now?
Yeah, I would say, think about what your corporate purpose is. And hopefully every organization has some sort of corporate purpose, and do these actions, do these deals, do these opportunities help fulfill that purpose. Now, purposes can change over the years, but, usually you start with one, and it's, you make it your purpose for a reason. Yeah. And also just, learning about the marketplace that you're in, learn everything you can, who all the players are, how the money flows. I think that is a very, very important piece.
Yeah.
Because looking back, that's, we were in like I said, a low margin, not sticky situation. And obviously that's not where you want to be.
Yeah.
So I think just generally, studying industry, studying how the cash, changes hands is always a good thing and helpful as you build your business plan.
Yeah. It's almost like, for the listener, there's a little bit of a matrix. We've got, box 1, 2, 3, 4, and box 1 is the AA. It's the sticky and high margin. And we've got sticky, but low margin. And over here, we've got high margin, but not sticky. And then over here, not sticky or, high margin. And we're trying to get rid of all of it really, except for sticky and high margin. But some of those box 2 and 3 you got to play in that box sometimes. What would you say to that for like your business, or what would you say to the listener who's maybe kind of contemplating how to get rid of that fourth sandbox?
You do have to play in that box sometimes. It doesn't have to be forever. And usually there should be some sort of, benefit from, like, non-monetary benefit that comes from that. Like we sometimes do business at a low margin or even break even in order to enhance carrier relationships and customer relationships. And it's not forever, it's temporary, but it helps us gain, stickiness really on both sides, the shipper side and the carrier side. And again, it can't be a forever thing,
right?
But there needs to be, or if it is forever thing, there needs to be something in that other box that's kind of tangent, like kind of related to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you tied it all together, it works out.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've got a client that's high margin and sticky, wants you to do something that maybe is a little outside of that, then of course you do that.
Right.
It is difficult to cut loose on those things that don't make you the money, though, because that's what you guys basically were saying or doing. You were thinking over here, you weren't following the money. What was that moment where you were like, okay, we're chopping this part of we're done, draw the line, we're doing it like this now? What did that conversation, or what was that moment like?
So I'd say it was 2016. Okay, we need to start calling on more shippers. These are our customers, but we still had some salespeople calling on transportation intermediaries. And so I kind of, myself and some of the ownership group, got together and I proposed, look, we need to divide the company into two. One needs to be a software company and one needs to be a logistics company. And so we spun all the software IP out into a separate corporate entity, and that's called Port TMS, who, we work very closely with. We're a customer of Port TMS, but MyFreightWorld is a logistics company. Yeah. That's what we do. So our business is knowing carriers. Now we resell the software in a way, but it's not our focus. Our focus is on carriers, and we leverage the technology to
bring value,
to get business and to, enhance the customer experience and make us more efficient. But it's not we're not in the software business.
Right.
So really drawing that clear line in the sand, doing a total rebrand of the software side, it was a total game changer.
Yeah. Well, and now in that example that you just gave, if the listener is, following along with your strategy, now you have other clients that you can go specifically, very clearly go after with the software company. And that's a whole nother thing, a whole nother team, and a whole nother growth strategy.
That's exactly right. Because no one was wanting to buy software from a competitor.
Right.
And it was the right thing to do. Could have been done sooner, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We're still kicking.
Yeah, that's right. What about if a decision comes across your desk? Mike, we've talked about a good and bad decision that you've made or kind of have gone through. How do you process decisions now? Like, is there a magic formula that you follow?
I wouldn't say, I rely on instincts a lot.
Sure.
And luckily I've been blessed with somewhat patient instincts. I've learned, especially when dealing with people, that, the initial rash reaction and any rash decision that comes out of that is generally not the one that you would make the next day or the day after.
Right.
So that's something I've really learned and kind of hung on to, is just, take a break. Let's think about this. And then let's deliver the message you want to say, but in a way that's a little more appropriate and isn't going to damage any relationships.
Yeah.
And then as far as just business wise, does it, we went through a lot of work about 2 years ago to really own and kind of enhance our corporate purpose. I guess it's actually about 3 years ago. And one of the good things about having a strong corporate purpose is that you can use it for decision making.
That's right.
Does doing this fulfill the corporate purpose? Does hiring this person fulfill the corporate purpose?
Yeah.
If our purpose is making the wheels of transportation less squeaky.
Love that.
I'll give you an example. Today we created a new role. It's called an operations analyst. It's going to enhance our reporting and TMS capabilities and create, fantastic, KPIs and metrics for our customers. Doing that makes the wheels of transportation less squeaky for our customers. So that hire fulfills our corporate purpose.
Yeah.
And so when making decisions, that's something I always try to think about. Are we fulfilling the purpose with this decision?
Right.
And if the answer is no, it's pretty telling. It simplifies things. Obviously not everything's just black and white, but it's been a really nice tool to have.
Yeah. It makes it easy to have a guiding principle, even core values underneath that purpose. And does this person fit our language, fit our tribe? All those things matter. Going over here to the speed round, Mike, I'm going to keep this. You just created this new position. I'm going to use it as an example here because it's an analyst, and an analyst dives in and checks numbers, KPIs. They're reporting things, as you said. And so if you could only pick one thing to report on or to track inside this logistics business, what would it be?
Yeah, that's a really good one. And I would say new shipper volume.
Okay.
And that's partly because I have such confidence in our operations and finance team. And so new shipper volume kind of tells me how we're doing on the sales and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
We've been excellent operators and executors for 24 years. We have not been an excellent sales organization for 24 years, sales and marketing. And that's something we put a large emphasis on in just the last 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And so new shippers is, if I had to choose one, that's what I would choose.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think that the way that you dissected that in your answer, I think is really great, because I've had a lot of answers, as you can imagine, but a lot of people have said sales or even the experience or the fulfillment, the execution, as you mentioned it. But you're right. If you have no worries of how your client is going to be handled, if it's going to be the absolute best, then all you really have left to do is just go get more. And so obviously there's always going to be improvement and better experience and next level, but that can even be built in. The innovation of that can be built into leadership and things that are already happening on the back end, where it sounds like it's giving you the full focus of growth and just straight. If I can get a new customer, then just I can follow along what that means for a simple, profit and loss statement and or even growth in the team organization. Would you agree with that?
totally. I mean, our goal is to, I guess this comes back to like one of my whys is we want to, build this organization. We have about 50 people. So that's 50 jobs. I would love to, be partly responsible for hundreds of jobs and not just jobs, but good jobs.
Right.
People that love their jobs, people that are fulfilled by their jobs.
Right.
So, but it takes finding new business. And I strongly believe that all of our new customers are better off with us than what they were doing previously.
Yeah.
So I feel good about every new customer we get, that we are making their freight experience better than it was.
Yeah. I think what you're saying, what you're depositing right now, the listener, it doesn't really matter what business that they're in. Even just my 20 plus years of sales, being a sales rep, being a sales leader, running sales organizations myself, my own businesses, of course. What you just said is like the ultimate confidence for a sales organization, is to know that like they are better off with us in their life. And as long as I know that they have the problem that we solve, then I can like really press hard in our sales process. And that doesn't mean pushy or, overbearing or anything like that. What that means is that I operate in conviction. And so everything you just said was like straight conviction coming out of your belief of like, no, like they need to be with us. They shouldn't be with anybody else.
And I really feel that way. Now there is, not everyone is for us. So we've spent some time identifying who is for us.
Exactly.
And then let's focus on that group because, Walmart does not need us. Target does not need us.
Yeah.
We're probably not the best fit for them. So our area, our tribe is that kind of mid-market, 5 million to 250 million in top line revenue. We have a couple $1 billion customers and we're doing some things to add value to that group. But our really bread and butter is that kind of mid-market.
Yeah.
And so we take a look at, what kind of commodities these companies produce, how many decision makers do these organizations have in their shipping department, and what are shipping volumes. And so those are some of the things that we look at to figure out, who's out there that we can really help. And once we've identified that, we try to show them what it's like with MyFreightWorld.
Exactly. Yeah, it breeds the confidence. I mean, we're talking about sales, really the bottom line of what it takes to be successful in sales. Yes, communication and all the tactics, but it's confidence, it's belief. Those things breathe like in and out constantly through a sales organization. And you can tell if someone is on the dying bed, of the sales world. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's how it rolls. All right. Next question is, what book or maybe resource would you recommend for a business owner listening today trying to grow?
Yeah. Okay. I would say a book called Clean Slate, and it's by Sean Storms.
Okay.
Haven't had a copy.
There you go.
It's on Amazon. I heard Sean at a mastermind group and I was blown away. This book is about, it's very large into corporate purpose, finding that true north. It's really big on, operational efficiency, getting rid of waste and rework. He's a big Deming guy, the Japanese businessman who just was, wizard at efficiency. And then he's really, really big on demand creation. And he compares a lot of B2C companies and brands and kind of challenges the B2B companies to create that type of demand. And one of his sayings, and this is really what kind of woke me up, is that if you need salespeople to sell your product, that means that there's no demand for it. And so when he said that, my eyes kind of opened up and it was like, okay, well, that is a very interesting point. I mean, taking that literally is maybe a bit much, but there's
Right.
some truth to that. And so it kind of woke me up. There's some things that we can do better to drive more demand. He's big into, turning the sales team into really like scouts, listening to the customers, searching for that unspoken need. And if you can find that unspoken need, you're going to be able to create really a better value proposition than you had before.
Right. Yeah.
And so I thought it was a great book. Just the purpose piece itself, we kind of implemented that, and it's made us a better organization. There's no doubt. So that would be my book recommendation.
Love it, Mike. I think even what I heard underneath what you were saying that he was describing about the sales organization is that not to get rid of it. He didn't say that. He just said that the purpose of it might be slightly different than how you're operating right now. And because you're right. There, you can't take that straight on and say, well, nobody rings my phone, then I guess I'm not needed. But that obviously doesn't work in business or sales. And that doesn't necessarily mean that people aren't out there that don't need you. They just don't know about you. So I loved how you said going up and creating demand or drumming it up, which actually plays a little bit more into marketing than sales, right? Because it's attention. You have obviously something that people need. It's just a matter of whether they know about you, right?
Right. That's exactly right. The brands that he uses are like Apple. I mean, they're just great. They're great marketers. Obviously their products are fantastic, but they're fantastic marketers. You know about them because of the commercials. And then also that the users are, commercials themselves. They're telling their friends about the latest gadgets.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's things we've tried to and are still working on implementing on the marketing side to try to increase the demand.
Yeah. Yeah. The secret, maybe a little piece in that formula for Apple, which I didn't learn this until, in the last couple of years, is status. And so if you can raise the status of your client in some way, yes, you add value. Yes, you solve a problem. We can't get away from those things. But if you can raise the status, it is like the underlying tone of why we as humans do pretty much anything. I mean, even just like think from like tribal men, like I'm either going to do it for status or a woman, right? Like,
right.
This is what we do. And so like, I just think it's like, just like this super deep nature thing that when you understand the reason why I'm telling my buddy about my new AirPods is because it brings me status, or the fact that I have the new whatever is that brings me status. Whether you want to admit that or not, that's how it rolls.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And, I think about freight. Freight's not, it's hard to make freight sexy. It's almost like the roof. You just want it to not leak.
Right.
But if you can make it cool to be working with MyFreightWorld, that's the dream.
Right.
That's the dream. And I guess the last thing I want to mention about that book is one of his big sayings is sameness is a disease of epidemic proportions.
Okay.
And that also kind of struck a chord to me in our business. We have a lot of competitors. There's probably 15,000 freight brokers out there. You can be a one-man shop and be a freight broker. And many of them do the exact same thing. They make a phone call. Hey, what do you got on the dock? I can give you a rate. I can give you, give me a shot. So that really struck a chord to me. There's a better way to do things. So let's do what we can to find that better way and bring more value.
Love it. Love it.
And I think that probably applies to a lot of industries.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everything that you've shared has been incredible. You've given plenty. I got a question for you. You mentioned Mastermind earlier. My question around intentionally masterminding or networking with other entrepreneurs, but you kind of mentioned that you already got something from that, but speak a little bit more into maybe your experience or the value that you've gotten from just getting time around other high performers.
Yeah. I've been a part of a couple different mastermind groups, just peer groups, in the Kansas City area. Some I've gotten a lot of value out of, some I've not. And the ones I had not, I've kind of stepped away from.
Sure.
And I think it's, I think the ones that have, for me, my time is fairly limited, just busy with a lot of things at work. And then, I've got a young child and another one on the way. That changes things. It really does.
Yeah.
I have fewer hours in the week now.
That's right.
But it's great. And so I've had to be a little more picky about how I spend my networking time.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing that I enjoy is kind of that combination of a get together that has some structure, has some purpose to the meeting.
Yeah.
But then, when the time is right, there's, the ability to socialize and maybe have a beer. So for me, that's what's worked, and that's what I enjoy. And because you never know people you meet or get exposed to, how they can kind of change your life for the better. So I really do believe in that. And actually, I've been inspired by one of the leaders of this group I'm in. He's a local insurance broker here in Kansas City. And he brings together local CFOs and CEOs and presidents. And I've been inspired. So I've started a few, transportation related groups based off people I've met on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some people with some commonalities.
Yeah.
They're in charge of moving their company's product.
Yeah.
Could be all sorts of different industries. We got mattresses, we got food, we got iced tea, we got electronics.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
and
awesome.
so we've got 2 peer groups that I kind of oversee, and those are going really well. And I learn a ton from them. So there's a little selfishness involved, but I think the people have enjoyed getting to know other people that are doing similar things.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I have to just second your opinion there as far as the selfishness. I facilitate obviously a pretty large mastermind, but it's like nobody knows that I get the most excited. I'm like, oh, it's game day today. Fantastic. I get around a bunch of high performers. It's why I started it. Selfishly.
Yeah.
Of course, I know that we're adding value to, big business owners all across the country, but it's like, man, I got filled today, which doesn't always happen when you're the leader of an organization and you get siloed to being the one always giving. It's good to get recharged every once in a while.
Totally agree.
What you mentioned family. What is your thought around, obsession really is the word I want to throw at your table here, but there's this long, maybe talked about word of balance and work life. And, as a business owner, as a leader of an organization, I just kind of just throw it out the window because I don't think it's going to help us be successful in either area. What I think happens or what needs to happen is obsession. That's how we became successful in the business. And that's how we're going to be successful in marriage as fathers, that type of a thing. So my question to you is, how do you obsess over both?
Yeah, I like the way you phrase that. Well, I love my family and I love my job. So those are 2 very key, beginning points, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's really allocating time. And really the biggest thing for me is making sure that I have a structure at work, have people that, that having the right team.
Yeah.
And the right amount of resources. Like this new hire that I just alluded to, who's starting today, that's because my plate was getting too full. It was taken away from time with my family. And also I was becoming a bottleneck in just key organizational functions.
Yep.
Neither of those things are good. There are things that I can train the right person so that he can do the job, those tasks even better than I was doing them.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that has been key as we've grown, is to invest in that team. Don't take any shortcuts in training. And it allows for the business to grow and for, your home life to remain the same, if not better. And so that has been, when I was a single guy, no kids,
Totally different.
I could spend as much time working as I wanted. And, it was good at the time of the business. It was good because, stretching, or getting the most out of our human capital was good for the business at that time. But as we've evolved and grown and matured, it's better for the business to get the right people and the right specialties in place. So that's been exciting to see and to be able to, not obsess over everything and watch other team members flourish. It's great for a number of reasons.
Yeah, understood. Well, I appreciate such a systematic answer. I think that there's a lot of business owners out there that don't think like you in that way. And I think that they're flying by the seat of their pants, which is oftentimes as leaders do. And probably how you maybe even felt before hiring this individual person. You gave a little snapshot there of a little tension, a little stress. And it's actually an indicator. So I love how you said that of like, okay, it's time for the next hire. It's time for the next investment, whether it be training the team, grow, whatever it is. Because you have to hold on to what's important on the other side. I completely agree with you. And if you don't, because that's that tipping point that where you hired this person is where some people just don't. Whether it's a financial related, they just want to hold on to the money, or they just think that they can do it better. Whatever that bottleneck is inside of them is then what keeps them from going home on time or spending the extra time necessary inside the marriage or the kiddos, And so,
Right.
because as they get older, and even as my wife, we've been married now for 15 years. It's like, I need to be intentional, just like I need to be intentional about meeting great people like you. Like I can't not apply the success principles over here on this side that I'm so good at over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Very well said. And, probably needs to be said more often, at least inside my own brain.
I love the vulnerability.
Because it's just I like the way, you think about it, because I understand and have a, firm grasp of, how things are structured to, succeed in the business and all those sorts of things, but they really are transferable to the home life. And not that I feel like, things are bad there, but maybe looking at it in the same light can help with that, with just time allocation and improve both sides.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I'll give one more thing here for you, the listener, whoever cares to take it. But I don't give this out of like I'm an expert, but only out of someone who's literally walking this out myself constantly, because I'm a high driver, highly obsessed individual, obsessed with achievement and success. I mean, I have 9 companies. I mean, come on, like I can't not push. It's just who I am. And so that last piece of what I just said is who I am. When I started realizing that I'm a builder, that I'm a pusher, that I'm a shover, that I'm just a get it done, let's just run hard all the time type of an individual, that applies in anything. I just needed to get as excited about building or pushing my marriage, or I needed to get as excited about pushing my children or building my children, is kind of how I like to say it, into this vision that we have as a family. And so I get just as excited about that now as I do building the next funnel or building the next team or building the next idea. And it's like, man, I need to transfer what you're talking about, that excitement around building, because that's who I am. I'm a builder,
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said.
I got one last question here for you, Mike. This might sound a little odd because you and I are both young guys, but we've been through a lot. You've got 10 years history at this organization that you now lead. If you could whisper in the younger Mike's ear, what would you say?
Well, I'll try to think of something different than, fix the business model.
Yeah.
Because I've used that one before, but
What about for you? What would you say to you?
it's tough because it's worked out very well for me personally in my career advancement. I'd say because what happened was I worked really hard. I was I had the ability to, obsess and one thing that maybe I did that not everyone does, and I try to, coach some of our new hires on this, is keep asking for more. Don't get content with, the current workload. Learn how to master that. And then, you're going to get quicker and more efficient, and keep asking for more. Keep asking for, be curious, get interested in other, departments of the business. See, because you never know where the right fit's going to be until you kind of dip your toe in those waters and not even necessarily dip your toe, but really dive in. Yeah. And so curiosity, hard work, and just flat out asking for more opportunities, and then proving yourself worthy of those opportunities.
Yeah.
I'd say, that's the right thing to do. And that's kind of what I did. So it wouldn't have probably changed a whole lot, but it would have been maybe reassuring, because there were certainly times, is this all for nothing?
Right.
And it certainly was not. So
yeah,
that's probably what I would say.
Yeah. I love that reflection. I would have to agree with you that there's many opportunities that where I just reached for more. I was actually just listening to a little deal the other day on desire. And the guy that was talking, he kind of, the way that he phrased it was that our DNA, or our spiritual DNA, the spiritual DNA is perfect. And regardless of your spiritual beliefs, it's like you were created to be Mike. I was created to be Chaz. And I think we can both agree that we're on that journey to figure out like what that means and who we're meant to be. Like that's just what life is about. And so in that, there's this play of who you are. And it's like trying to always come out and like help you with the business model or help you be a good dad or, whatever. It's like trying to make you be the best version of yourself. But inside of that, being the best version is reaching for the next level, wanting more, asking for more, what you said. And what that does is it forces us into a creative state because it's more than or different than what we do now. And so we have to, like you said, master and then be able to put ourselves into a situation where we're now like, okay, I have to now resolve another problem or get efficient or put myself in a different construct or creative thinking to be able to solve this problem as opposed to this problem. So there's just so much value in what you just said as far as reach for more. Like we all hear it, we all know it, but like the why is because it literally puts you in the position to grow, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I mean, you got to be your own advocate. You got to, no one's going to push you forward like you should be able to push yourself.
That's right. Love it. Mike, how can the listener find you? Number one, if they are in need of transportation services and or even software, how can they find you? But then also, how can they connect with you as an entrepreneur?
That's it. LinkedIn is a great way to find me. I'm on there. Just Mike Chalfant. You'll see me, president at MyFreightWorld. And then email mchalfant@myfreightworld.com. You can reach out on our website, myfreightworld.com. Pretty accessible.
Good. Sounds good. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you for just spending your time. You've got a brilliant mind, really. You've been able to do so much in such a short period of time. And I just appreciate you sharing and giving some nuggets to the listeners today. So blessings on your family, the new baby that's coming, your whole entire team there that's growing. Thank you for being here, Mike.
Hey, thanks so much. I enjoyed it, Chaz.
Thank you for listening to Gathering the Kings today. I hope that you were able to pull out a few nuggets to go apply into your business right away. More importantly, though, I hope that you're realizing that it takes more to be successful than just being by yourself, doing it all on your own, carrying the weight all by yourself. What I have realized, not only in my own journey from multiple businesses and multiple different industries, and now interviewing literally over 200 or 300 other very successful 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners, is that it's tough to do it alone. And so Gathering the Kings literally exists to bring together successful entrepreneurs. In fact, we are putting together 1,000 kings, specifically who are grateful but not done. We're intentionally assembling kings who fight tooth and nail for their business, family, and communities. And here's what we believe, that in the pursuit of excellence in those areas, that it ignites within us the responsibility to govern power and forge a lasting legacy. So if that relates and resonates with you, and you know that you need people around you, sharp, qualified, other very successful business owners, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. I want you to take a look at what we're doing and see if it makes sense for you to be part of our pursuit to 1,000 kings. Talk soon.